Well, that's one way to start a video. As I said in my last Rampant Repaints video, which nobody watched because it was about clay stuff, and I predicted that nobody would watch it because there wasn't a dinosaur in the thumbnail, I said I was going to finish Limbo because I needed him, her, it, them. I'm pretty sure the wiki said he was a boy, so I'm sticking with he. I said that I needed him and the Baryonyx trio, basically all three Baryonyx trio. Why am I so discoordinated? I'm going to be using the Bary's Grim for a future video in Dino Duel, so I needed Limbo to be ready. Therefore, he took priority over the Pentaceratops, who was pushed aside again. Now, I kept putting Limbo aside because I had already did a Baryonyx repaint, as well as, if I look over here, we have another Baryonyx repaint I did, Fish and Chips, the Baryonyx from Dinosaur King. There's also the fact that I didn't think that... my throat! My god! There's also the fact that I didn't really think that Limbo was going to be a very interesting repaint, since Limbo is just brown Baryonyx with a bit of a weird greenish color at the bottom. It didn't look like green in the show, but supposedly that's the color. And now, thank you, Chaos. Thank you very much. I didn't think he would be a very interesting repaint, so I just left him just kept putting it off. But as I said, I needed him for future videos, so I decided to just pick up the paintbrush and just start painting him. And just as I had forgotten with the Grim video, painting a Hammond collection figure is quite painful. You end up with a lot of gray spots, and unfortunately with Limbo, I took a lot of shortcuts, and there are even more gray spots. And right now you can't see any, but I guess in certain areas you will see just how many shortcuts I took in making this figure, which left a lot of empty spaces. Oh, that's right, another thing that kept me from painting this was because I said I couldn't find the right color for the belly. I couldn't find pistachio. And then I decided, you know what, it's never restocking anywhere. Even when I took a trip to the USA, I still couldn't find pistachio paint. So I decided, you know what, whatever, I'll just mix my own shade of paint. I just grabbed some, you know what, we're already getting into the painting process, so why don't we just start with that? Started out painting the top half brown, because that was literally the only color I knew that Limbo had 100%, and brown is not a very easy color to mess up with. So it was just very easy to take all of the spots that used to be black and then just paint it brown, with a bit of extra tip on the tail, because it doesn't go out all the way to the tail on the regular Baryonyx, so I just made sure it did go all the way to the tip of the tail on this Baryonyx, like I do with, like, it's the same thing with Grim as well, but we're talking about Limbo right now, so let's try not to make too many comparisons to Grim, even though the painting process was honestly similar yet not similar, because this one, Grim, well, it was a lot harder to get Grim's colors before I finally landed on this, and even then, it's not perfect, and a lot of people seem to agree. In fact, a little short video where I repainted the top, people were saying, why didn't you just paint this a tan or something? And again, that's the same scenario as with this pistachio, where I just couldn't find the right mix. So for now, she is staying orange. She's staying as Lyle Crocodile. And Limbo here was a lot easier. Once I was finished with the brown, I did a little more subtle bit on the top with the brown. Then I just got onto the green, and at this point I wasn't even trying to preserve the stripes because I knew I was going to paint over it with a new white, like a light gray stripe anyway, so I just painted over it anyway. And mixing the two colors was, I mixed a small amount of yellow and a small amount of green, which landed in this greenish color. However, most of the time I always end up with a lot of excess paint when I mix it. This time, however, I ran out. I did not have enough to paint the whole figure, so you can even, if you look closely, you can see that the legs and the hands, if I can zoom in, the legs and hands are actually a different shade of green. The original shade of green that was mixed with the yellow is still just that regular green. In fact, I didn't even paint on, I don't even think I painted it on properly. You can still see some of that original gray underneath all that green. This was basically my most rushed figure. Can I say figure? No, this is a toy. The Hammond collection technically is supposed to be a figure, but it's just a just a high quality toy. This is a figure. It's solid, it's heavy, it's highly sculpted. It's been treated with a lot of care and love. It also eats your wallet like a monster. Hammond Collection makes good stuff, don't get me wrong, but these are still, I can't really call them figures because of the way they're treated. Yeah, they are highly detailed and sculpted, but there's still some things that make them just feel more like a toy than a figure, because I still feel like I can just give this to a child and it wouldn't really be the end of the world, because it's just a very highly detailed toy. That's about it. No, sorry, this video is about Limbo, my bad. There's really not much else to talk about. All I did was, after that, I think I opened a new paintbrush. Well, actually, no, the stripes. Okay, so on Grimm, I did preserve the stripes on this one, which made it easier to repaint. But this one, I did not preserve those stripes, thinking, oh, I can just paint over it, it'll be fine. But then turns out, oh, with my really bad paintbrush I have, it's a really messy, broken one. It's so old, and I didn't think of replacing it. I thought it was still useful, but it wasn't. It just made the stripes really wide and so this side looks fine, but then we move over to this side, you can see just how the stripe was just very smooth and not at all stripy. I had to you can see it's all one-sided. I had to add those brown spots myself later. Only reason I didn't add it here was because, again, I was out of that green mix I made, and I didn't want to mix another one with a completely different shade. This side is where I opened up a brand new paintbrush, and I actually painted it more true to what the pattern that was actually being shown. And it turned out a lot nicer on this side, so unfortunately, yeah, Limbo is not exactly my greatest repaint. It does look good. It actually looks a lot better than I thought it would. Because again, I thought Limbo was the least interesting of the Bary's Grimm, because Grimm is the best looking Baryonyx out of the three. With Chaos being also a good one because it's literally just the original Baryonyx colors, and then Limbo just being just a very boring, it's brown. It's just brown. He's not very interesting. So to make sure he wasn't just full-on boring, so you know how the Chaos actually has a bit of blue highlight underneath her eye, and then Grimm also has a lot of coloring upon the face, the red splosh, and I also added the color shift for the blue as well. Limbo doesn't have it. If he does, it's so subtle that it's almost not there. So I decided to give you a little subtle bit of color shift blue, which in this light just looks purple. So you just got a bit of purple markings on your head, just to give you that, just to make sure you're not entirely just regular poop brown Baryonyx with green, very ugly green color. That being said, this is actually quite a nice shade of green. It actually turned, this looks more, if you told me this was Limbo, I would believe it a lot more than if you came to me and told me this was Grimm. If Mattel came out and said this was their Grimm figure, I'd be like, are you sure? That doesn't look too much like Grimm. The colors don't look that well. Because, I should know, I painted this one, and I know it doesn't look like the real Grimm. Painted those little dew claws that they didn't paint black, and Limbo is all done. It honestly shocked me how good Limbo turned out, with even despite all of the shortcomings and all the shortcuts I basically took on this figure. He turned out pretty nicely. Looks way better than Grimm, which I do plan to repaint that orange to a beige or a tan someday in the future. Maybe not this year, maybe next year, who knows. Chaos still looking the same. I'm still debating if I want to give you a small touch-up, paint your dew claws, or give you a more prominent eyeliner, some color shift for the blue, just like how Grimm and Limbo do have that. Maybe even finish that stripe to go up to the rest of your neck and the back of your tail, that sort of stuff. Or if I should just leave you the way you are, because again, these are 3 Hammond Collection Baryonyxes, and one of them still looks the same, which can pass off as Chaos, because Chaos is just a regular Baryonyx from the Jurassic World, just the Jurassic World Baryonyx transferred over to Camp Cretaceous. What am I even talking about? So yeah, there's not much else for me to say. Next time I am definitely going to be doing that Pentaceratops. There's no way in heck I'm going to go back on my word and paint one of the other figures that I just have lying around, because I have a problem. I just like painting dinosaur toys. But yes, the full-on Camp Cretaceous crew is here. Let's put Bumpy over there, so you're actually part of it. But yes, the full-on Camp Cretaceous crew is here. I forgot the Scorpius. But I don't want to take him off his perch. He looks so nice up there, even though I'd much rather have a Hammond Collection one. I'm still waiting for them to announce that being a thing. Like, literally anything from Camp Cretaceous to be added to the Hammond Collection, because, good lord, that Scorpius needs some TLC. But yeah, expect to see the Bary's Grim in some pretty exciting scenes in Dino Duels. I promise it'll be a lot more exciting than them getting a smackdown from Anne.